I think we need to decompress a little bit. So let's talk about two albums at once. Let's talk about Justin Bieber's Purpose and One Direction's Made in the A.M. Not exactly what I had in mind, but November the 13th. Both of them come out the same day, obviously a day that now will live in infamy, or either that or be the best day ever, all depending on who you are, because clearly this is the event, this is the moment in time that is the reason why November the 13th exists. This is what the curse is all about. We're going to talk about things a little bit differently here. There are pros and cons to both of these albums. We need to speak about both of them. So first of all, let's start with Justin Bieber's Purpose. Now, a little bit of background on this is the fact that Bieber in 2014 seemed like his career was over and dead. He was turning more into a douchey bad boy that was driving fast cars, hanging out with big-titted women, drugs, alcohol, this, that. It seemed like his career was dead. He was no longer interested in music. And now here he is in 2015. The career defibrillator has been given to him. He's been given the gift. And he instead of going back to what he was doing prior to this, teams up with Diplo and teams up with Skrillex and a couple of other folks in order to create a very down-tuned, electro-centered album. One that is actually focused a little bit more on subtlety as far as the music is concerned in the background. Meanwhile, his voice is essentially attempting to strip listeners through headphones. His seductive voice is attempting to literally take all of their clothes off before realizing, I can't do this through music. I may actually have to show up at their house and remove the clothing myself, but maybe it'll work for a couple of idiots. But anyway, this is an album that's its lead single, it really tore up the charts. It was one that showcased that Bieber was back and at the same time was elevating this sort of concept that has become a plague on the Now records over the past few of this down-tuned sort of club anthem type thing that's not really even a club. It's way too chilled out. It's something that's way too... What are people doing in clubs these days? What's going on in clubs these days? Do people pay the cover charge, get the little stamp on their hand or whatever, and then just go in, get a drink, spike it with something that's going to make them look like a fucking zombie and act like a fucking zombie, listen to this, and all of a sudden, this is exciting. This is the elevation of great music, the elevation of club music in 2015, the syzzup effect. This is really, really great. I feel really, really faded. Hey, you wanna fuck? I do too. Great. Anyway, if I go to a club, which the thought has occurred, it's come to my mind, I've seen sunlight, I know what it looks like, why do you think you wear the glasses? It's warm and bright and nice. But if I want to go to a club and I heard a song that was off of this record, I would go get a drink, so that much is accurate. If the next song sounded like it, which it probably would in this day and age, I would go take a smoke break. And if after that, whenever I came back in, another song like this was playing, I'd go to a better fucking club. Scooter, guys. He's good, much better. That's more what you want to move your ass to. You can move your ass more to Sun. Come on. So, One Direction, Made in the A.M. Let's transition somehow. And with this, it's almost as though this group is in their Let It Be moment. One reviewer even said that. Whoa, seems like taking the whole Beatles thing a little bit too... This is One Direction. Come on, One Direction, guys. So the very first track on this album, Hey Angel, actually paints the picture of them doing something that's like a little bit post-Oasis, and has a little bit of that post-Britpop feel to it, but at the same time, also really reminds me a lot of the big hit songs from the 2000s. And I'm thinking of bands such as The Fray, where they were really able to take this idea of having softer, more melodious, centered verses, and then captivate it all with a more boombastic chorus, or at least one that has a great hook to it, and it just sort of attaches yourself into your mind to the point that now, 10 years later, you still can remember the words and maybe not even remember who it is. That's what this song really seems to propel, and there are other tracks on this album that seems to follow that same mold, sort of cut by the same breed. But at the same time, there's also a lot of tracks on here that sounds a lot like they are the perfect end to a One Tree Hill episode or one of those other teen dramas where you cannot believe the fact that Diane is actually going out with Jeffrey after Dan is over here in the corner. He is perfect for her. They match up. They both really, really like the same things. They have classes together, and they just have a magnetic attraction. But yet she wants this other idiot, this other dillhole, this freaking born-to-be-wild asshole over here on the left, and yeah, either that or the werewolf and the vampire and the pyrotechnic master, the panda bear, all are now forming a collective, and they're going to go and seek the one true ring from Darth Vader, meanwhile getting large tree branches shoved up their ass, Evil Dead style. And you're like, oh my god, I can't believe how well this music fits this. A lot of these tracks feel that way, and it's because they've been industry written. You have to understand that these boys only write about, a little less than half of their material. Most of these are crapped out by the industry with the design of mass marketing. They have that idea bricked in their mind, and they want that to be how this takes place. The album has the propensity to have some okay moments if the songwriting wasn't just so kind of run-of-the-mill typical. These gentlemen individually could probably be a halfway decent or at least halfway competent rock band, but whenever you add the industry in, they're bona fide hit makers. Come on, why would you ever separate one from the other? That just sounds stupid. So, how do we really describe these two albums? How do we really look at this from an objective standpoint? I think the real way is to look at it as shit. I know what you're thinking. It's so typical. No, stay with me. Now, the One Direction album, Made in the A.M, reminds me of somebody who eats specific foods. That way, whenever they release it, it doesn't have that bad, that terrible odor to it. Maybe you eat an apple and it comes out and it smells like an apple. And that's great. That smells just hunky-dory. Holy crap. Maybe you eat some lilacs and it smells like that. It's like a shit puree. It's crazy. But then there are other songs where, they probably ate a ghost pepper and you can sort of smell the tears that are there. Either that or they ate something, ate a lot of asparagus and there's that strong, piss scent to it. And it's just and then there's another track that smells like they just basically took some shit out of the toilet and just decided to eat it again, thinking that was a good idea. Oh, wonderful. Oh, the shit smell. This is so random. I can't believe it. This is amazing. I've never smelt this before. Meanwhile, on the Bieber record, since all of it essentially has this monochrome feel to it, where it all sounds the same, it all has the same downplay, that Ed Sheeran couldn't save this. Come on, Big Sean, we knew he wasn't going to save this. He can't save a relationship with fucking Ariana Grande. I think that's who he was with. Whoever it was, screw you, she's mine now, fuck. And basically, it's just like being on the toilet and just hanging out. You're high, you're a little bit faded, a little bit buzzed, you're just feeling it, maybe have your headphones on or something, and then all of a sudden, just as you're just enjoying yourself, waiting for the shit, oh god, a little droplet, a little driblet, a little shit that comes out, and you're just like, okay, well, that's fine, that's something, that's shit. Then another one comes out, and then you just keep on going, and this little shit. It's interrupting you whenever you're trying to just have this. You're just trying to be comfortable, and then all of a sudden you are interrupted by this little inconvenience. This is musical inconvenience, is really what I'm saying. So, where do we go from here? Both of these careers are at some varied points where they could easily go in different directions. One direction is going out the door direction, considering they're going solo, they're going on hiatus. They should really look to the Jonas Brothers, they should really look towards Justin Timberlake, people like that who elevated what they did before in order to make something new and something different whenever it comes to crafting their solo works. Meanwhile, Justin Bieber, on the other hand, is sort of in career revitalization mode, and if he wants to continue on this direction, he needs to infuse a little bit more energy. This seductive R&B bullshit doesn't work for the target audience that actually listens to your records. And if you're trying to branch out, get a little bit more color in your palette, if you smell what the rock is cooking, you need to do a little bit more even to do that. I'm coverkillernation. I hope that you laughed a little bit today. I hope that you learned something today. I hope that even if you want to kill me and think that my opinion is pure garbage, that at least you saw a pro to the con, that maybe I'm making some sense. That perhaps some of the information may be made in jest, or others might be made just to be kind of gross or kind of cruel. But there was also information in there that you could agree with. That's what it's all about. Music is 100% subjective. But at times, whenever you're trying to analyze it, you do have to be a little bit objective. And objectively speaking, these are two mainstays, beloved, darlings of the industry. So, naturally, there's going to be a little bit of a plastic veneer around their sound. And even though on the Bieber album it's not as present, it is present, considering it's kind of the new wave of what's popular on Now Records. With One Direction, with the right drugs, they might have been able to make a true Let It Be, or an Abbey Road. Something that actually elevated rock to a new level here in 2015. But that really doesn't need to happen. What needed to happen, happened. And now, One Direction can go and do their own creative endeavors. Now, it's up to them to sink or swim. I'm CoverkillerNation. I'll talk to you later.